let's go back to Abu Dhabi. Our guest will be on the call this Saturday for UFC 242 alongside John Anik and company. But I have a lot of important things to talk to them about, so let's not waste any time. Let's say hello now to the great Dominick Cruz, who is joining us right off the plane. And before we get to Dominick, how are you? You good?
Oh, I'm great. How you doing, Ariel?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Where's the birthday boy? Happy birthday, my dear Dominick. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday.
Thank you, Ariel. Yes, it is my birthday, but it's not my birthday all at the same time.
I forgot the lighter. My bad. I screwed that up. Yes, because you're saying it's already past midnight in Abu Dhabi. Is that what you're saying?
No, because my birthday is March 9th, Ariel.
What? What are you talking about? I thought it was September 3rd.
No, that's on Wikipedia because somebody was messing with the Wikipedia. However, it is my birthday because Henry Cejudo won't shut his mouth about me, so I'll take it.
Wait a second. Are you serious? Because someone wrote to me, be sure to wish Dominick Cruz a happy birthday today, and it's not your birthday after all that, Dom?
Do you believe everything you see on the internet, Ariel? Because if you do, we have a problem.
This is one of the most embarrassing moments of my life. Wow, I can't believe this.
That was exciting for me. I love that because,
Oh, my gosh. I feel horrible. Well, all right. I take it all back. All back. I'm sorry, Dominick. Okay. But first off, how was did we lose you there?
I'll take it.
Are you still there? Dominick, you there? Can you hear me?
I lost you.
You lost me.
Got you. Say it again.
How was the flight? The long flight to Abu Dhabi?
Not bad. Going to Australia was much tougher.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm happy you're there. Thank you for doing this. Let's get right down to business. Henry Cejudo put out this video. He had the belts out. He had the dirty diapers. He had the bottles. And then he said he wants the easiest fight. He wants a tune-up fight. He wants the brittle Dominick Cruz. He wants the Arizona, championship, as well as here's the footage. You've seen it all. What did you make of this video from Henry Cejudo?
I mean, I was just surprised that he was able to piece together the sentences in that book. And I think that those are his own personal diapers. So that's the only place he could have gotten it. I don't really know what he's doing. I don't think anybody does. I think at this point, people are just laughing at what they don't know is going on. And they're like, what is happening? But they're laughing because nobody knows what's happening.
Were you surprised by this call out? Did you think he would call you out? How did you react to the actual substance of what he was saying?
Well, I mean, he's acting like he beat a bunch of people that hadn't been beaten before. So that's what I didn't really understand. However, the shirt that he's wearing, it has my name on it. So that's cool. Tune-up fight. Yeah, I'm going to tune him up. He got it right. He knows I'm going to tune him up. That's it. It's very simple.
Is this the fight that you think happens? Do you think this will be his next fight? Is the UFC, as far as you know, interested in booking you versus him?
I think the UFC is interested in booking us. And the reason is, you got to look at what's been done. I set the most records in this division of anybody in this division. I was the first ever to hold the title here. I had it for the longest of anybody in the division. And the people that I beat to get to the title, I didn't have an easy road. There was nobody easy that I faced in order to get to that position. Not to mention, I've had my own setbacks on top of that. So some say that, that tarnishes my career. The way I look at it is, it just made it that much harder for me to be successful in my career. And I'm still at the top of the division and I still have the skills. So, I think that that's the fight to make. Everybody knows that if you want to be the best in the division, you got to face me, or he already faced TJ. You got to face the champion. And, I've been out for a little while, but I'm still here.
Okay. How is the shoulder feeling? And realistically, when could you return?
Well, that's the other thing. Henry Cejudo had a shoulder surgery as well.
Yeah.
And so I already know that by the time my shoulder's healed, it's going to take about the same amount of time for his shoulder to heal. So that lines us up probably right on the same dotted line. And I think that that's a fight to make. We have a lot of history, me and Henry. You know, we go back all the way down to the high school days. My senior year in high school, when I graduated, he was still competing in wrestling, but we were on the same Arizona national wrestling team. We competed, and um, there's just a long history of going to wrestling camps, being there when he's there in the Arizona wrestling circuit. He's always been the guy to beat in wrestling, and I never really got to compete to him there with him there. So, you know, to get to actually fight him would be pretty awesome because, I mean, the things that he's done in the sport, you have to tip your hat to in the sport of wrestling. But in the sport of fighting, he's still very green, very new, and extremely soft. I mean, this man has been catered to his entire life because coaches his whole life has seen him as a super athlete. And so they always pull him out of the masses and take care of him and coddle him and baby him. And, you know, he came straight out of high school to the Olympic Training Center to compete in wrestling. So I believe that the reason why people have such a hard time understanding Henry Cejudo is Henry Cejudo doesn't know who he is. Straight out of high school, they locked him away in a room and they threw him on the wrestling mats to win a gold medal. Henry Cejudo is the gold medal. That's all he knows. So that's why you'll only hear from him is what he's earned. If you take away the gold medal, you take away the UFC belts, what would you hear Henry Cejudo say that he is? Who does he make a difference for? And why? What's his purpose here? And I think that that's what makes him such a confusing entity to the world is he doesn't know who the heck he is without winning in competition. So to go out there and beat that man and just beat him down and explain to the world how confused he is with what real life is. You know, this man really truly believes that the whole world revolves around winning belts and medals. Well, when that's all said and done, what are you going to be? That's the question I have for him. And after I beat him down, he's going to be in that question for a good period of time.
Wow, that was deep, man. Holy smokes, that was super deep. So wait a second. The Henry that we see today, like the cringe and all that stuff, do you feel like that is almost like just a bit of an exaggeration of the man that you saw or the kid that you saw back in the day? Is this not that much of a stretch from that guy from back then?
Well, we don't know who he is because he won't let that out. That's why he's so cringy. The cringe is to hide who he doesn't know how to be, which is himself.
Oh, geez, Louise. This is incredible. Has this been a fight?
It's a very easy way. It's a very easy way for him to hide because you can make everything a joke and everything's not real and everything's, you know, oh, I'm the best. Oh, bend the knees so you can look me in the eyes. Like nobody wants to bend the knees so they can make eye contact with you, Henry. You know, the thing is, you got to understand that whole persona, that whole WWE thing is much easier for him than being an authentic human being. It's much easier than him being Henry Cejudo. And the reason is he doesn't even know who he is. It's a fact. He just has no clue. He's been locked in the wrestling room his whole life. He has no people skills. And he's a very confused kid.
And so could I ask this? Because I feel like this is the question that's going to come. Olympic gold medalist, two-weight champion, you know, beats Dillashaw, beats Marlon Moraes. Is Dominick Cruz jealous of Henry Cejudo's success?
Never. I mean, the people that he's beaten, not only have I beaten TJ Dillashaw, Joseph Benavidez, and Demetrius Johnson, the only person he's beaten that I haven't is Moraes. And Moraes gasses out. We saw that. I don't gas out. So that's a simple fix. Besides that, there's nothing to be jealous of because he doesn't even know who he is. I know exactly who I am with the belt, without the belt. I've been retired. I've felt that before. I've felt what it's like to live life without being, you know, at the top. This man is lost unless he's got something to show for what he is. And so I'm excited to take that away from him and see and have him learn and have him be able to find that out for himself.
And in all honesty, isn't this sort of like a gift? Like, it's not often that the champion is calling someone out. Usually, in your case, you need to try to call out the champion to get that fight. He's doing your job for you, right? Like, he's actually making this a lot easier in a weird way, correct?
I mean, mean, you could say that. I just think that that's the one thing he's smart at is competition. So while he might not have all the people skills in the world, the man knows how to compete, and he knows how to fight, and he knows how to wrestle. And that's what we're actually talking about here. So in the octagon, all the skills and everything that he needs is there. But I also have those things in flying colors, and I've done this. I've been in this sport longer than him, and I've done more in it with harder opponents than he has. Bigger, larger, stronger, more often. So he's still learning. I mean, I'll never forget the one time Henry Cejudo, we get into a van together, and we're driving to I still had the belt at this time, and I had just beaten Demetrius, and I had just beaten Faber. And we get into a van, we're going to go do like a photo shoot. And he's like, hey, and we get in the van, he's like, oh, hey, Dom, how you doing? He's like, hey, we should train together, and we should go. I would like to train with you. I'd like you to help me get ready for Demetrius. And I looked at him, and I said, you don't want me to really help you get ready for Demetrius. I said, the truth is you want to compete with me and see that if you're good enough to beat me or compete with me, then you know that you're good enough to compete with Demetrius Johnson. So the real reason you even want to even talk to me right now about training or me teaching you something is because you just want to be able to use me as a gauge because you're not confident in yourself. I can't give you that confidence, and realistically, even if I would be a good coach for you, you wouldn't hear anything I have to say because you're an Olympic world champion. I mean, you're an Olympian. You're a gold medalist. Who's going to tell you what to do? All these cronies that you have around you are all yes men. He doesn't have one person around him that tells him the truth. He's been surrounded by yes men his entire life. So it was really nice for me to be able to sit there and explain to him that, look, I'm not going to train with you. I'm not going to help you get ready for that fight. You don't even want me there. You just want to use me as a gauge to get yourself moving forward. And he kind of said, wow, you're really honest. And I said, yeah, but there's no point in wasting the time. So this thought of me and Henry facing each other has been going on for a long time. Henry knows it. Henry knows I'm the guy to beat. If you don't beat me, you can't be the champion in the division. I'm the longest standing champion at 135 pounds. And the people that I beat speaks for itself. Now, you want to say, yes, he's been hurt. Yes, this, yes, that. I mean, everybody gets hurt in this sport. If anything, like he said, that should make it an easier fight for him, shouldn't it? But that's what TJ Dillashaw thought too.
Back in the day when you guys were youngsters, did you actually ever like roll with him? Did you actually go toe to toe with him?
What's funny is exactly what I'm saying. I remember we were at a Payson wrestling camp. I was a sophomore in high school, and he's about 3 or 4 years younger than me. And they always would separate Henry from everybody else, and all the coaches would gather around him and teach him his own stuff. And it was just, so he never really was with us because they wanted to make sure he didn't get hurt. He was another level of wrestling at that point. He developed quickly. He's extremely good at wrestling. So because of that, he just was never really part of the actual group. He was always coddled. So this is a time where we're meeting and we're going to see how well that actually worked for him. You know, in the sporting world, it worked really well. But what I love about fighting is how real it is. You can't lie. You can't dodge anything. Everything that you say comes and faces you. Everything that you are comes and faces you. And I think that all that coddling is gonna hurt him in the end when he faces somebody like me, because I went the rough road. I had it where I wasn't the one that, you know, maybe not the most talented, maybe not the guy that everybody saw like, oh, that's going to be the guy. So I had to work, and that paid off in the WEC days too. I had to work all the way to the top. You know, guys like Faber got 35 title shots in a row, and things like that happen because of marketing, because of promotion, and because of knowing how to use the right politics. Henry's making the right move right now, and he's playing the right game, I think, because he knows if you're really going to have any validity in this division, you've got to beat me, and that's it.
Dare I ask, what do you think of all the intergender stuff?
I think. Well, what do you mean? You gotta be more specific.
You know, he's calling out Valentina Shevchenko and all this. I mean, it seems like it's all for laughs, but do you feel like there's something more to that? I mean, you have a very deep way of looking at things, so I'm just curious to get your take on that.
Well, I mean, you're seeing that, you're seeing some men drop down like a Fallon Fox is somebody that you could think of, right? Dropping down to the women's division and doing pretty well in that division. Men are men, women are women in their bodies. That just depends on how you are. But I don't really know what to say. I don't really have an opinion on it just because I would never do it. I don't have any will to fight a female.
Yeah.
So I didn't really understand where that came from, except for the fact that, again, he sees an opportunity, to, I guess, take advantage of something that he thinks is easy. I mean, that's how I guess he would see me too, right? As somebody who's been injured a lot and maybe fragile. So maybe he sees it as the easy way out. I don't know. I can't really explain what Henry Cejudo's thinking of doing that. Some people want to say it was a joke, but I mean, we're seeing it actually happen in the world today. So where men are coming to the women's divisions, and so I haven't seen any women come to the men's division yet, but we've seen them cross up with the transgender stuff going on. So whether it's a joke or not, is it really funny? Because it's actually happening.
Mm. And so when you talk about like him being coddled and, him being soft, that's all that's all fair criticism. But are you able to say like you've been impressed? Like, has he turned into a better MMA fighter than you expected? Has he exceeded your expectations? Are you impressed with what he's doing?
I want you to know that I'm not talking about him being soft in fighting.
Uh-huh.
This is where he is. This is where he basks. But, it's easy to hide under the limelight of being a world champion and being the best fighter in the world and being the best wrestler in the world. But when you really break down what that is what are you? You're a professional prize fighter that beats people up for a living. You're a professional wrestler that puts people on their back for a living. What does that actually equate to as a human being? What are you actually really doing? So while he's a great fighter, and that's what we're talking about, as a human, he's soft. And I plan to break the human being before he gets in there to fight who I am.
Amazing. And so I asked you about the shoulder, but you didn't specifically tell me, like, realistically, what month could you return, or when would you want to return? Well,
according to Henry, he says his shoulders should be ready, beginning of next year. And he goes, well, I kind of, you got a picture of me with him and Masvidal. And what happened is I was walking through the hallways and Masvidal is hanging out with Henry. Oh. Excuse me. And he goes, hey, I got to get a picture with you guys. And so I'm like kind of thrown off, and I'm like, okay. And so we walk up and I take a picture, and that gets posted. But it really just, he told me in that moment, I was like, oh, how you feeling, man? I heard you had shoulder surgery. I saw it blow out when he did it. And he said, yeah, I probably want to have a Christmas and be with my family and my kids. I said, well, I don't really give a shit about Christmas. So how about we fight on Christmas? And he said, no, I want to be with my family and just and have that time. And I was like, well, okay, well, if you change your mind and you want to talk about the things that matter, like fighting me, let's do it. Let's do it very beginning of next year. I think both of our shoulders will be lined up. And, he's one of the greatest wrestlers to ever compete in the sport. I'm not an Olympic gold medalist. It's a big deal to do that. And I have nothing but respect for the things he's done in the sporting world. But I look forward to talking to this man for 8 weeks leading up to the fight, if I can get him to sign the dotted line. But realistically, I think he knows what that entails. And as much as he wants to say I'm fragile in the body, my mind is as strong as they come, and you got to deal with that for 8 weeks before you get to deal with this body. And this body that you're going to deal with is actually a lot stronger and a lot more capable than people ever really realize until you get in there with me.
And what would you say to someone who says Dominick Cruz hasn't fought in 3 years? It's been over 3 years since his last victory. He does not deserve a title shot.
Who says who deserves what, first of all? Who makes that rule? And second of all, Nate Diaz just was out for 3 years. I've been out for 3 years, came back and won a world title after 3 years. Diaz came back and beat somebody after 3 years too. 3 years, what is that? That's a good rest. We're talking about a guy like, here's an example. I was out for 3 years with injuries. USADA gave TJ Dillashaw a 2-year ban for taking an illegal substance. What the heck is a 2-year ban? Like, that's not even a punishment. You give me 2 years to just rest my body and relax and spend all the money that I made as a prize fighter while I was cheating. Like, that's an easy way to come back. Now, what I've gone through, you're dealing with rebuilding the body and chopping it down several times. I mean, I broke my ulna. Then everything shrinks down because you can't train. My whole arm was just like a big bone. I had to rebuild all the atrophy. Then I blow out my shoulder. That sinks down to nothing. I had to rebuild all the muscle back in this, which I'm still doing, which should be back by the end of beginning of next year. So when I really look at who's done what after long layoffs, I wrote the book on it, and Diaz went out there and showed that the things that I said are real, along with me always coming up and showing up with following through with what I say is real. And I plan to do that again. A 3-year layoff is just, what is that? Who cares? Brock Lesnar's been out for how long? We were about to match him up with Daniel Cormier for a world title. Are we really talking about what's fair? Are we really talking about what's possible? Or are we just talking about people's opinions of sheep,
enough.
mostly?
Fair enough. And so I know Henry is there in Abu Dhabi. Are you hoping to run in to him over there? Are you going to try to find him? What's the plan of attack here?
Well, how do you find somebody like that? You know, he just, you gotta really just, you just gotta really focus. He's a little dude. So to see him out here amongst all these giants in the UFC is going to be a tall order.
And by the way, before I let you go, I'd be remiss if I don't ask you about your old friend Uriah Faber coming back and looking so good in his return. What did you feel when you saw him do that?
I love that. I did. I really actually loved that because, what he said was so typical him, though. I remember he's like, well, he's just not on that level yet. Like, what does that mean, Faber? What are you talking about? What level are you talking about? Like, we're all pros here. So it's just so funny to hear him say the stupid stuff after he wins. That was funny. But to see him go out and knock him out like that, the way he did Simone, with the hot streak that guy was on, that was beautiful, especially coming from the days. I mean, me and that dude were come all the way from the WEC days. This is 10, 15 years in the making, me and this guy faced. And I fought him 3 times, and that chapter's over. He's got a lot of people in the division that I think he can give a lot of fits to. So hopefully they give him the matchups that, can stand for the veterans. But I don't know. The division's looking pretty hot. I don't know who Shelby's going to match him up against, but he's got some tough fights ahead of him after beating Simone.
He's gunning for Cejudo as well. He's one of many.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's gunning for the champion. That doesn't surprise me. But, I mean, Faber getting a title shot, what sense does that make? I mean, I beat the brakes off of him, and a lot of other people will beat the brakes off of him too. So the thing is, he is good, and I am proud of him for going out there and creating that win at 40 years of age and landing his overhand right. What a surprise. Like, I mean, gosh, how many times are people going to let him land that and then go for a guillotine before you realize he's got an overhand right and a guillotine? That's all you have to watch for. That is it. And these guys just keep walking into it. It's mind-blowing to me.
So as you said, a lot of people gunning for the champ, but in conclusion, you feel confident that when Henry Cejudo returns, his next fight will be against you, yes?
If he's smart, I'm the guy to fight. Who else? Tell me who else brings anything to the table in the sense of viewers. Ariel, all right, we've got Jan, okay, new on the scene. Could probably still keep building that guy. He's definitely got a future. These are all guys that have a huge future. Austin Sal just got beaten by homeboy. I don't know. He's got 100 followers or something. What's his name?
Corey Sandhagen.
Thank you, Sandhagen. Then you've got
Sterling.
Sterling. Who else? Come on, help me out.
Sterling.
I got a lot of things in my brain.
Yes, Sterling. Faber is out there. Piotr Jan, as you said, yourself. TJ is out for quite some time.
TJ's gone.
And there's Joseph Benavidez, who, of course, at 125, the UFC has said they want Henry to fight there too.
Okay, so if Henry goes to 125, that makes sense, right? Because Benavidez is one of the greatest in that division. I think he definitely has a chance to beat Henry at 125. I truly believe that. However, I beat Benavidez twice, so wouldn't people want to see me fight Henry? At 135, I believe that would have more of a say. Not bashing on Benavidez because he is that good, but I think people would be more interested in seeing Henry move up and face me, especially after the layoff. I mean, people know after I come off a layoff, I'm not a normal guy. I show up different. So isn't the curiosity there? My face is there. You don't know half these other guys. Doesn't mean that they're not good. It doesn't mean that they can't fight. It doesn't mean they're not actually some of the best on planet Earth. I truly believe the 135-pound division is the best it's ever been, period. All these guys are savages, but nobody knows who they are. They need to fight. They need to win. And, when you hear guys like Nate talk, this is what he's talking about. He's saying, all you guys who come in, you fight 2 fights, and you get a world title, you haven't been in the game. I get what he means. I remember I won my first title at 25 years old in 2010, and I had the belt until I was 30 or something like that. So it's hard to say how long it took me to build any kind of fan base, any kind of story. Your story has to build in this, and then people want to follow it. And these gentlemen all have stories to build, and I think they have fights to make. But right now, my story with Henry is there. We have a history. He believes he can beat me. I'm 100% positive that everything about my style brings nothing but problems to him. I move my feet. I don't sit still. I don't get tired. I'm longer than him. I match his speed. I guarantee you he's no stronger than me because he's a weight class under me. All the things line up, plus the layoff. So let's say you hate me. Let's say I don't deserve it. Then let's put that man on me and see, and then you can also watch me get beat up if that's what you want to see, okay? But I doubt that happens. The point is, the fight's there. I'm easily one of the most well-known guys in this division, and that's what people want to see. It's not just the fight. When you watch guys like Conor McGregor, he built the idea that people don't want to just see a good fight. Half the time, they don't even know what a good fight is. They want to see a guy like Tom Cruise or a guy like Matthew McConaughey show up to the cage, or Justin Bieber or something, show up to the cage and fight Dana White. Why? Because they're two famous people fighting. They don't care how good the fight is. They care what's on the line with the fame, and they care that somebody gets humiliated when they're famous. I've got a lot on the line. I've had a lot to say, and I have a feeling a lot of fighters on the roster have a lot, would love to watch me get punched in the face a little bit too, and maybe even some of the fans. So I know Henry wants to do it, so I'll get him a step stool and we can make this happen.
I am sold, my friend. Great job as always, Dom. Thank you very much for doing this, especially after the long flight. I apologize, but I'll still give you this cupcake the next time I see you. I'm going to save it for you right over here. I appreciate it, and good luck on the call this Saturday as well, Dom.
March 9th.
March 9th. All right.
March.
Thank you.
If all works out, let's get me that birthday fight. That's why I thought that's why you were saying happy birthday.
Oh, okay. Good save.
I thought it was official, like you were giving me the fight. It's on.
My bad.
Tell Henry, nothing
March.
but hugs, man. Come on, let's make this happen. I probably need to be a little bit more gentle with him so that he'll take the fight. But
all right, we'll see what happens.
I will be. I'll do what I got to do.
Dom, thank you. You're a mensch. I appreciate it. Enjoy Abu Dhabi. Dominick Cruz, the man. Thank you so much to him. I am sold on that fight. Great job. I knew he would break down Henry Cejudo very well, and there you go. He broke him down. Hello, everyone. It's Ariel Helwani. I just came here to thank you for watching our ESPN YouTube channel. It's the best. You know what else is the best? The ESPN app. You can get highlights, analysis, all that stuff and more. And if you want premium content and live streaming sports, there's only one place for all of that. It's ESPN Plus.